Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Macbeth. We're actually getting dangerously close to the end of Macbeth, but today we just get to finish up Act 4, Scene 3, and we get to hear from Malcolme. And we are at this moment in England with Malcolme and Macduff, who have been chatting about what a horrible state Scotland is in since Macbeth has turned into rather a tyrannical leader, and he's killing his enemies willy-nilly. So they are in England sort of raising an army against him. But Malcolme says that if he were to become king, if he were to become king, because technically he's the rightful heir, he'd be an even worse king. And Macduff was like, no, what are you talking about? And Malcolme's like, yeah, I'm a horrible person. And Macduff's like, well, then we're all screwed. And Malcolme's like, I was just kidding. I wanted to see whose side you were on, and you're on the right side, and I would make an awesome king. So let's make that happen. And then a doctor comes out and they're like, hey, how's things going? And the doctor's like, yeah, the king's about to go and like cure some people in the streets, because apparently that's what the King of England was doing at that time. And the doctor leaves and Macduff turns to Malcolme and he's like, so what is it that he's curing? And Malcolme says, 'tis called the evil, a most miraculous work in this good king, which often since my here remain in England I have seen him do. How he solicits heaven himself best knows, but strangely visited people, all swollen and ulcerous, pitiful to the eye, the mere despair of surgery, he cures. Hanging a golden stamp about their necks, put on with holy prayers, and 'tis spoken to the succeeding royalty he leaves the healing benediction. With this strange virtue, he hath a heavenly gift of prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne that speak him full of grace. So what the king is like running around and basically laying hands on people, by which I mean he puts a piece of gold around their neck and says some things, and supposedly he's like curing lepers and that sort of thing by doing this. And Malcolme and Macduff are like, well, maybe it's kind of a good thing that he's giving us an army. And then Ross shows up and they're like, hey, how's Scotland? And he's like, it's horrible. It's horrible. And Macduff's like, how's my family? And he's like, they are well at peace. And they're like, great, let's like raise an army. And Ross is like, actually, no, there's some things that you need to know. You need to know exactly how bad Scotland has gotten and all of these things that are going on. Oh, and by the way, Macduff, your entire family is dead. And Macduff's like, wait, what, excuse me? You just said that they were fine, that they were well at peace. And he's like, yeah, they're at peace because they're dead. They're all dead. And he's like, really, all of them? They're all dead? He's like, yeah. And Malcolme's like, well, you know, use that anger to fuel you to get angry at Macbeth. And he's like, yeah, I will, but I also have to grieve for a second. And I have a lot of respect for Shakespeare and for Macduff for taking that moment and saying, you know what, I need to feel this as well, because I just lost my whole family, and Macbeth doesn't have any kids, so he has no idea what it feels like to lose a child. So he can go and put his face in a puddle or something, you know, whatever. He's like, I need a minute to feel this. And so he feels it for a second, and then they're all like, okay, we've been promised an army. We've been promised this guy Seward is going to lead that army of 10,000 people. Let's go talk to the King of England, Edward, because he's right over there. Let's go talk to him and get this army so we can go and get rid of Macbeth once and for all. So they do. They leave to go and get their army. And then that's the end of Act 4, Scene 3, which is also the end of Act 4. So tomorrow we're in Act 5. But the even crazier bit is the first monologue in Act 5 is in Act 5, Scene 3. So we're going to have to do a lot of recapping tomorrow, a lot of filling in the blanks before we get to tomorrow's actual monologue, which is maybe a little sad because one of the most famous scenes in the play is coming up and there's no actual monologues in it. So I'll just have to tell you about it. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow for that and much more. Mwah.